Hello, I've been watching The Chair Company on Now TV, so now I'm going to tell you what I think about the series so far. Maybe mild spoilers ahead, but we're only 3 episodes in to the 8-episode series.
I witnessed a problem.
I'm very sorry to hear that, sir. What was the problem?
It was a big problem.
So The Chair Company is a comedy thriller created by Tim Robinson and Zach Cannon, and Robinson is also the star of the show. He plays a man called Ron who experiences an embarrassing incident at work when his chair collapses during a very important presentation, and he ends up looking up one of his colleagues' skirts by accident, okay? He can't stop thinking about the incident, the falling part, not the colleague's bare legs or anything, and he feels deeply awkward and distracted by it, so he does what I think any of us would logically do and calls the manufacturer of the chair, who he believes to be a company called Tekka, to warn them that their chairs are faulty.
There is a massive problem that could cause mass casualties.
But he is unable to speak to the company directly, instead being redirected to a call center.
It was a big problem.
He finds this very suspicious and comes to believe that there is a wider conspiracy afoot involving Tekka, a suspicion which so far seems to be justified, as he is assaulted by a man who tells him to forget about the chair company, giving Ron the confirmation he needs to know that he's onto something. What is the chair company? Who's behind it? And what are they hiding? Just for a bit of background now then, so Tim Robinson and Zach Cannon, or Kanan, worked on SNL together and then went on to create the sketch show I Think You Should Leave. This is where I came across Tim Robinson for the first time. I Think You Should Leave is absurd and it's full of cringe-inducing humour, which kept me interested. I also found the sketches completely unpredictable. The stories and characters go off in a direction that you just wouldn't expect, and I think you can definitely feel elements of this in The Chair Company. The show almost feels like they thought up an idea for an absurd sketch and then went, what if we turn this idea into a whole series? In my opinion, The Chair Company might be the best example of a comedy thriller I've ever seen. Don't get me wrong, Hot Fuzz is definitely up there too, but I have consistently laughed out loud watching The Chair Company, whilst also genuinely getting a bit spooked, especially at a scene at the end of episode 2. It strikes the balance between the two genres really well. The writing is so clever and avoids spoon-feeding the audience, but at the same time avoids becoming inaccessible. The dialogue, the camera work, and things like character and story development are all really quite simple to grasp and interpret, and yet you still feel like you're watching something new, something that has been meticulously thought out and refined, and it makes for excellent television. Similar to I Think You Should Leave, a lot of the comedy in The Chair Company comes from extracting every single drop of awkwardness out of a situation and conveying that to the audience. Robinson's character of Ron is very awkward. He finds himself in awkward situations and he interprets certain moments or conversations as being awkward, even when they don't necessarily mean to be, and this causes him to behave even more awkwardly.
I'm right about a lot of things that people have zero clue that they even know is going on.
Oh, okay.
Which compounds the situation and heightens the comedy, if you can handle that sort of comedy. I know for some viewers, things like secondhand embarrassment can be a bit too much to bear, and there is a lot of that in this. Now let's touch on the performances. So if you've seen Tim Robinson perform before, you know what to expect. No one could ever question his dedication to the role. He engages his eyes, his face, his gestures, delivery, tone. Everything is being considered when he performs. It's almost like his characters or his performances just spill out of him. His character Ron is very intense, and as he becomes more obsessed with finding out about Tekka and these problem chairs, he lets the intensity of his feelings seep into other parts of his life, like at work, around the office, and into his home life. He becomes very on edge and paranoid, and it seemed like he was kind of an on-edge guy anyway to begin with, and because of this, Robinson is able to deliver a performance that brings the energy up, and you as the viewer are right there with him. You feel the intensity, the awkwardness and paranoia with him. There are times where, in a way, it does remind me a little bit of Severance in terms of there being a mystery and the ways in which it is funny and the slight eeriness you can feel throughout. I dare say that if you like Severance, you might well like this. And then around Ron, you've got some pretty strong characters. In the office, some of them are quite absurd themselves. They have funny little asides and micro storylines going on in the background. And everyone feels like a complete person and a complete character. It feels like a lot of thought has gone into everyone who has a speaking part, which helps with the immersion and makes the world compelling. And I think that strengthens the comedy as well. You've also got Ron's family. So Lake Bell plays his wife Barb, and they have 2 kids who are like late teens, early 20s. I would say that this unit of characters are a bit more grounded than the gang in the office, but they do still have their funny and wacky moments. From a technical point of view, the music, camera work and editing definitely leans more into the realm of thriller than comedy, which I think makes the whole thing more effective and in my opinion makes the comedic moments even funnier. Now, I usually try to take a balanced approach to anything I review, but to be honest, there isn't really anything that I don't like about The Chair Company so far, but there are a couple of things that I can see maybe wouldn't be for everyone. So as I have said, a lot of the humour in this comes from awkwardness and it's cringy and it can cause the viewer to feel secondhand embarrassment, and that isn't for everyone. Another thing I noticed is that a lot of the stronger thriller-esque sequences and plot points would build and build with this tension and lead towards a climax that never comes because the journey gets disrupted by the need to make a joke or have a comedic moment. I always want to call it like story edging or visual edging. You're getting so close to something a few times per episode, but that satisfying ending that you're expecting gets interrupted with a total tonal shift. I can see that this could be frustrating for some viewers, but it didn't diminish my enjoyment of the show. Right, so I'm going to take a look at the critical reception for this on IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes, and I haven't looked at this yet, so you'll get to witness my authentic reaction in real time. Yay! Okay. Alrighty, so we're looking at IMDb first, and on IMDb, The Chair Company gets 7.7. Okay, that's probably a little bit low for me, but we are only 3 episodes in at the time of recording this, so I do get that. But from what I've seen so far, it's difficult to judge with a TV series when you haven't seen the whole thing, because usually it's that end result and looking at it as a whole that helps make it good or not. 7.7 is low for me for those first 3 episodes that we've seen so far, and I do wonder if that will change once the whole series has been released and we've seen all the episodes and we can see if these storylines are going to go anywhere. Okay, we're getting on to Rotten Tomatoes now. So the audience give The Chair Company 79%, and then the critics give it 100%. So the audience on Rotten Tomatoes, obviously very similar to the score that it gets on IMDb, which was the 7.7, and it gets 100% from the critics. That's wild. So obviously I've really enjoyed it so far. Would I give it 100%? Would I give anything 100%? Maybe The Fellowship of the Ring. I mean, I do get it because as far as I'm concerned, there are no true flaws with it. I'm really excited every week to see the next episode. I think we'll definitely revisit that once the series is finished, and it'll be interesting to see if it's changed. I'm going to have a look to see what people are saying about it, see what some of the critics on Rotten Tomatoes have said. Right, so it doesn't actually have any of the reviews from the critics on Rotten Tomatoes, so I wonder if that's something that will get published or released once the series is finished, because then you can actually give like a complete and fully informed opinion, because like it seems great now, but if none of it really goes anywhere, I mean, it's still been highly entertaining, but maybe that would knock a few points off it. Anyway, if you're thinking about watching The Chair Company, definitely watch it. If you enjoy absurd comedy, if you're just looking for something a little bit different, something that isn't super predictable, I think you'd really enjoy this. I'm really enjoying it. I'm really excited to see where it goes. And if you've got any interest in Tim Robinson at all, definitely watch it. You will definitely enjoy it. He really is incredibly funny and just such almost like a breath of fresh air in the comedy world for what he is doing, because it just feels so different to what the majority of other comedy is bringing us today. Anyway, that's enough from me about The Chair Company, but I'll be back soon with more thoughts on things that I've watched. Bye.